Your repurposed freighter drifts through space. As you stare out at the star-flecked void, another ship comes in. Wait, is this sci-fi? I thought we agreed on a World War II campaign. Oh, did we? That's cool. I can pivot. The smell of smoke curdles in your nostrils. Hold up, I thought we were prepping for a zombie apocalypse campaign. Alright, here's what we're doing. It's the year 3700. Humanity's elite fled to other planets long ago, taking with them all forms of advanced technology. Earth survivors scrape by with historic tools as weird phenomena plague abandoned nuclear sites. Witnesses report seeing glowing lights and the dead rising from their graves. And amidst the chaos, three strangers will meet in a dim bar. A veteran zombie slayer, a disgraced general out for revenge, and a space mercenary sent to investigate the power plants. Now describe your characters. How did you do that? I have the right tools for the job. Hi, I'm Grace, and you're watching Disney Channel. That's stupid. Hi, I'm Grace with Trollord Games, and you must be here to learn about Castles and Crusades. Castles and Crusades is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game that uses a D20-based system. It was published in 2004 by Davis Chenault and Matt Golden, and it was designed to be rules light and adaptable, promoting an environment in which the only limit is our imagination. The core mechanic of Castles and Crusades is called the Siege Engine. In this system, if a player wishes to take an action and a chance of failure exists, the Game Master, or Castle Keeper, will call for the player to make an attribute check. The player attempting the attribute check will roll a d20 and add their character's level, as well as any bonuses or penalties that they may have to the result. The player will then tell their Castle Keeper the total, as well as whether their associated stat is primary or secondary for their character. If a stat is primary, the challenge base is 12. This means that in order to pass, the player's result must be greater than or equal to 12. The challenge base for a secondary stat is 18. This number can be altered by the Castle Keeper depending on how easy or difficult the attempted action may be. To quickly review, a challenge base is determined by whether an attribute is primary or secondary, which sets the base of 12 or 18 respectively. A challenge level is a modifier of difficulty determined by the Castle Keeper, usually within plus or minus 6 of the base. These two numbers combined make up the challenge class, which is the number that the player must meet or exceed in order to succeed in their action. For example, Nick is playing Grognar, a 3rd level human fighter. Fighters have strength as a primary stat, and Grognar's strength score of 15 earns him a +1 bonus to strength checks. Grognar is attempting to break down a locked door. The door is fairly thick, so the Castle Keeper calls for a strength check from Grognar. In this case, Nick will roll a d20 and add both Grognar's level and strength modifier. He rolled a 13 and adds 3 from his level and 1 from his strength modifier for a total of 17. The challenge base was 12, since strength is a primary stat for Grognar. The Castle Keeper also determined that since the door is particularly sturdy, an additional challenge level of 4 will be added to the base for a total challenge class of 16. Because Nick had a total result of 17, exceeding the determined challenge class of 16, Grognar successfully breaks down the thick wooden door. Unfortunately, Grognar doesn't have intelligence as a primary stat. Were he to have thought a little bit more about it, he would have realized that maybe the door was locked for good reason. As Grognar bursts into the room, he is met with the fearsome gaze of a dragon, who immediately unleashes his fiery breath on the reckless intruder. Grognar must now make a dexterity check to avoid being barbecued. Since dexterity is a secondary stat for Grognar, it'll be much more difficult, with a challenge base of 18. And because this is an ancient dragon, the challenge level is 34 as determined by the creature's entry in Monsters and Treasure, for a total challenge class of 52. Grognar is instantly incinerated. His dust is swept up. A story once spoken is ageless. The dungeon imagined without end. The curious are the ones most courageous. The tree that endures has to bend. From stillness the mad mage is stirring. From countless voices the castle takes shape. Zagig will test the enduring. Those unlucky will never escape.
Troll Lord Games. Join the fray.
And we are live. Do we have sound? Is the sound working? Yes, yes. Can people hear me? Woohoo! The sound is working absolutely great. It is February 4th. I don't know what year. I've been writing 2024 on all the checks I've been signing and everything I've been signing. I've been putting 2024 down. It just hit me today that it's 2025. So I had to go back in and fix a whole bunch of files that I had inappropriately named that would cause confusion and delay as we move forward into yet another year of troll lording. It feels like it's 1955. I've been so caught up, history professor, in this retro futurism, whatever the hell that crap is, that it feels like 1955. To that note, Peter Bradley sent me over the trailer for the new Fantastic Four. Very happy that they're doing the retro 50s look. Looks very, very, very cool. None of those Fantastic Four movies have ever worked very well, but I always hold out because I like that crew of knuckleheads.
Where's the link?
I don't know. Let's see, wait a minute. I can find it.
No, it's okay.
Peter sends me like 3,200 links to things to watch a day.
Oh yeah, we had some discussions today about anime. Yeah.
Yes, I have no. If you talk to Peter, you definitely had a discussion.
Anime and liches. I won't say why.
Liches. Okay, there you go. All right, so there's the link for the.
I want to click on this and see what it looks like now.
Yeah, it looks good. I have to say, it looks good.
Okay, that really blew everybody's ears out, probably. Sorry, guys.
People today can barely manage ground cars, flying cars.
Oh, it's got one of my good favorite, the new, what's his name?
Yeah, the guy from Narcos.
He's great. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, whatever that guy's name is.
Oh, yeah, this is super, like Jetson feeling or whatever.
Yeah, it's got that whole feel to it, which is cool.
Yeah, cool.
The future that we were promised in the past.
Look, little Zach's got an announcement. Blackberry Dr. Pepper is great. There you go.
No, it's not. Zach, I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
Speaking of which.
Yeah, I don't think Linda is around. I don't know if anybody bought you a Dr. Pepper or not. We've not been paying attention though. We were talking, so we'll just say sure.
I saw that abomination the other day. So, for those just joining the Troll Lord and Trolls here, this is February 4th, 2025, and I am Troll Lord Stephen Chenault, CEO of TLG. And if you have any questions, this is my Q&A for the week. If you have any questions about what we're working on, Kickstarters, projects, Fantastic Four movies, which Dr. Pepper to drink, then I will do my my best to answer it in some haphazard way. Dr. Pepper flavor is the best flavor of Dr. Pepper. It is the only flavor of Dr. Pepper.
Orlando said he did get it earlier. Good man.
Excellent. Thank you, Lando. Good deal. My 81-year-old mother had a Dr. Pepper for the first time last year. Oh, that's awesome. I had my first Dr. Pepper when I was like 10, 8, or 7, or 9, back in the 70s at some point. I remember the moment. I just don't remember actually what age I was. What about a flaming Dr. Pepper? There you go. A flaming doctor with some pepper. I have no idea. So it's been a good week already. We're off to a roaring start. We got all of our assets put together for Castle Zaggy, the Kickstarter, which will launch on February 25th. So look for information on that. Tomorrow we'll have the first newsletter directed directly to those people who have signed up, giving them a hint of what is to come. So Castle Zaggy is moving forward. I spent about 2 hours late last night putting notes together for Mike Stewart, who's working on level 3. And I hollered at him about working a little bit closer together. So Castle Zaggy is on the move, which we are very, very happy about. Peter has begun doing some of the art for it, and he's got to start on level 3A, which is a sub-level of the 3rd level, which will be in there. So when you talk about how many levels are in Castle Zaggy, it gets very kind of dicey because there's 17 levels and then some sub-levels, so it's somewhere around in there. So Castle Zaggy is moving forward. Grace has put a fantastic video together, which kind of captured the essence of what I wanted to capture. She didn't just knock that thing out of the park. That will be deploying. We will deploy that relatively soon, I should say. Just good news on the Castle Zaggy front. Is Castle Zaggy going to be broken into multiple banker kits? I forget. Yes, 2 at least, maybe 3. It is a monstrous project, and the first one will be the city, castles, environs, and maybe pieces of the dungeon. We haven't quite finalized that. I really want this first one to have chunks of the dungeon in it so that people can start playing immediately, and we don't have long to wait for the rest of it. That so you can at least get teased. I think that we have been teased with Castle Zaggy, Greyhawk Castle for many, many decades, and I want that to stop. I want people to start being able to play into it, and that's why we're moving forward on this relatively quickly. For the beleaguered trolls, and now that all the amazing adventures and the reforged Castles and Crusade stuff is out, this should not be an issue. We shouldn't have too many stumbling blocks in the way now that those things are done and out of the way, which is good. Beyond that, we have work continues on. We've brought in 3 new artists now to work on Exaltum and Infernum. We got a slew of pictures in today from Infernum. Zoe has requested some artistic help, and we have accommodated by hiring a new person. And then David North and I hacked out some fantastic pictures about the Celestials that are going to, some Erdian Celestials that are going to appear in the Codex Exaltum. So those 2 works moving along at a good steady pace at long last. Chuck is in the middle of deploying the last remnants of Reforged. I think the Role Players Vault will be out soon. Crusader 28, we've turned over to Jason to put in some final 3 little fixes that we need. Yep.
I did send out the PDFs to the backers today, and I did do a couple updates. One for
good.
And that was a lot. And then, and I also got out the canvas prints to all the backers for the top 2 levels on the Hermit.
Excellent. So that's a lot of stuff flying out the door.
Yeah.
Which is good. This is where we want it to be. We're trying to wrap these things up. I really would like the labor side done by the time we launch the Castle Zaggy stuff on the bulk of these. The 2 armory books they haven't gone to the printer, waiting for the quotes. As soon as we get the quotes back, which will be tomorrow probably, I'll start uploading those files and get those 2 books printed. The Beneath the Canopy Green is laid out. Peter he needs 9 more pages of content to hit our signature of 16. So we're going to go ahead and put in the covers for each of the originally published adventures in there as a full page bleed, which will be exciting and kind of mimic what we did in Undying War. So probably by Thursday, the Beneath the Canopy Green will be done, and that sucker will be rolling off to the printer. It'll join the 2 armory books. So we're wrapping a whole slew of stuff up. and I think that'll just leave us the Exaltum Infernum and the whatchamajigger, the Gygaxian World Builders, Gary Gygax's World Builder Archive, I believe is what we're calling it. And progress is being made on that. The Canton Crew was turned over to me, edited, so it's ready for layout. I've got a new approach that I want to take for these encyclopedic books. And that as soon as Bill Edmonds cleared up, we will tackle Bill and run that by him. So those things are probably a little bit lagging on schedule because Jason is not finishing the covers as fast as he had hoped. But he is putting ever more detail into them. I think I'm going to give him a break on one of those and just have it be swirling clouds or something. So he doesn't have to put all of this extra stuff in, which I have no doubt is slowing it down. So all of these projects are moving forward quite nicely. I'm very satisfied with where we are. And I think over the coming weeks, we'll see it pick up speed as one thing after another gets kind of put to bed. We can now double down and focus on this, that, and the other. And we can finally start looking at new things like Codex of the Plains, Crusader 29, et cetera, et cetera. Do we have some questions?
Well, one, that's Decado 1620 on YouTube said, what PDFs went out to the backers? I sent out the Role Players Vault today, which was the reforged edition of the 101 campaign ideals and character backgrounds. Right? Am I right about that?
Yep.
Or adventure ideals. Yep. That's what. Yeah, that's what I called it, reforged. I mean, it kind of was, you know.
Well, that's sort of everything's, you don't, for Castles and Crusades, we really don't want to think in lines of editions or anything like that. But because the Reforged fits so beautifully and it's so simplistic in its execution, that I've just started referring to everything as Reforged.
We weren't going to do that either. Remember, we talked about that.
Yeah, that was very, very pointedly not do that, but it's become a habit.
I've caught myself calling AA Reforged too. So
I do. Yep, I do the same thing. It's joined the slew of stuff that's flying out. And so I really don't anticipate. We've had a very busy 2 quarters with an absolute ton of large releases. I don't anticipate this slowing down. I did formally enter I don't know if Chuck did. I don't know if I said this to everybody. I formally entered the Codex of the Plains into the roster of books that we are actually working on.
In there? Now. Oh, I didn't look at maybe is it in the spreadsheet you sent me? I haven't looked.
I sent you. I don't know if I sent you the one that's where are we? That tracks the progress on.
No, I've not seen that in a good minute.
Okay, yeah, I updated that. I'll send that over to you for the meeting. We're having a company meeting tomorrow, so that's everyone needs to have a gander at that anyway. But yeah, I formally entered the Codex of the Plains into that mess.
It's awesome. I can't wait for it to come out, man. I'm so excited about that.
Reforge, refine, regrind. It's all the processes.
Because you know the thing about the Codex of the Plains, right?
What's that?
It actually supersedes both product lines.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Kind of originally, if you recall, way back in 2022, before Wizards of the Coast came in, decided to change our schedule around. The whole idea was get the Codex of the, and I was barreling through it. If you recall, I was doing really well. I mean,
you were great. In fact, I thought we might have it done like very early. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it would have been done probably by March or April. It's knocking out 2 planes a week, easy. But then the Wrecking Ball came in and knocked that around. But the original concept was to get the Codex of the Plains out and then redo Amazing Adventures. We weren't going to redo Castles and Crusades. There was no reason to do it. We were going to redo Amazing Adventures because it needed a full color treatment. It was black and white. We wanted to go full color. Get the Codex of the Plains out, Amazing Adventures, tie in the Rings of Brass with Amazing Adventures, and then the Rings of Brass ties into the World of Air, and the World of Air is Castles and Crusades. So then we've got all of these properties underneath the umbrella of the Codex of the Plains that allows everybody to play whatever genre, whatever.
Think about it, man. You're doing some sort of like ritual voodoo thing, and they open up a gate, and it takes them to, I don't know, the Wall of Worlds or something. I don't know, wherever,
Yeah, no, that was the whole thing, and we've got for those of you who've kind of bought into the Amazing Adventures stuff, we first did the 5th edition stuff, but Innsmead, the Ruins of Innsmead, we just released this last week for Amazing Adventures, is a town in Arkansas, not set in any particular day. It's assumed it's today. so that you could get into the ring of brass there and go. And now you're in the rings of brass. And if you want to go to the World Erd, you can go to World Erd. If you want to go to Tainted Lands or Warhammer or whatever you want to do, Castle Zagig, Barsoom, it's all kind of set there for you to do what you want to do. But when Wizards of the Coast came in and did what they did, it kind of it knocked the Codex of the Plains off that, its front running spot and kicked it to the, and into the dirt. And we had to shift all gears to go into redoing all of this.
It's going to be a lot of fun when all that comes out, though. I'm very excited about it. Very excited about it.
Yeah, very.
I want to get back with you and just remind you about that whole the dead gods thing. Remember, don't forget about that.
The dead gods. Now I have completely forgotten about it. But give me
like one of the best ideas I ever had. You loved it. Now we've forgotten.
Yeah, shake the tree a little bit. I'm sure it'll roost down.
I will.
You're not going to do it here on the stream. You're going to tease all of these wonderful people who show up on the stream for a little bit of
I have to look at Skype. To be honest with you,
you've forgotten too.
Well, I don't want to be wrong in my repetition, but it's easy. It come right up. Here it comes.
That's one of the funny things. One of the funny things about the creation process of all of these games and whatnot. There's so many good ideas that just kind of just roll through, and if it's not put down somewhere and acted upon, it becomes part of this. It falls into this dustbin of good ideas, and sometimes it gets picked back up. Sometimes it doesn't.
All right, are you ready for the elaboration now?
Yes, let's hear it, Chuck.
I have a great idea. Well, you might like it. In the history of the plains, have there ever been any gods slain? I thought it might be cool to weave in some story about dead gods, maybe even have a few pockets, planar pockets where they once ruled and that are crazy alien-like and just out there, I was telling Torlock about it today, actually, for a little bit, because we were talking about how cool to have some sort of part of that be in the Codex of Plains, even like just some planes that are just dead.
So what I'll do with that is I'll create because I do like that idea. I do remember it. I will create the idea in the planes that there are dead gods. And that way, Sparky, Vic Danger, Savage Splendor, whoever, if they've got gods in their own campaigns, they could merge them easily with this kind of setting and make them dead gods or make them living gods or whatever, so that you can bring this stuff over however you want to do it. Because that's kind of the idea behind the planes is I talk about time in there. I talk about all kinds of stuff and ways to merge stuff. Because the idea is to throw one gigantic rope out so that, to create an arena of stuff that we can play in. Question, have you ever allowed witches at your table? And if so, how did you run them and how did they go? I do allow witches at my table. I do not run them hard. I'm not one of those people who picks apart the sentence. I pay no attention. If they ask for something, I give it to them because it's the power of the spell. Now, if they go crazy with it, which occasionally, I will say this: no one has gone crazy with a wish spell at my table in many, many years because,
really?
Wow. Because the ramifications of asking for something, I want to be a god. Okay, now you're a god. Now the gods come to kill you. Now you just got yourself annihilated. Whatever.
So,
but I don't pick apart the sentences. I don't do that.
So what you're saying is, if I might be so bold, would this sort of sum it up right there? Would that sum it up in chat?
Consequences. Yeah, there it is. And I do that with so many things. If you will play reasonably, then there are reasonable consequences. But if you play unreasonably, there are unreasonable consequences. I'm not a huge fan of the wish, Sparky. I think it should be really relegated to replacing a character's lost eye or restoring a level or whatever. But in Gen X speak, yeah, that's sort of it. And I think that the only one that pushed it back in the Woebegone days was Matt Golden. Matt always tried to trip me up. He always tried to wordplay me out of stuff. And it always ended the same way. He's much more clever with wordplay than I am. Whatever it is. Anyone's much more clever than wordplay because I just don't do puns and all of that stuff. And so he would walk circles around me until I got pissed off and his character got killed. So it always kind of ended the same. And it taught everyone else at the table just not, just the consequences. Yeah, that's the.
Oh, hey, there's Vendor. Hey, Vendors, how you doing, buddy? Um, let's see. Oh, we do have an interesting question for you here. Manfred Van
Fire
Becker
away.
asks, "Isn't aired? You're gonna like this question. Isn't aired a pocket where the greatest god Unclar once ruled before he was slain?"
Is it a pocket?
That's what he's asking you.
It's not a pocket.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna step back and let you do what you do.
Yeah. So aired. I mean, it's not a pocket dimension. I got to see that. Where's that question?
It was Manfred. It's up there just a little bit.
Oh, I see. Manfred isn't aired a pocket where the greatest god Unclar was before he was slain. So there certainly would be people in aired who would say, you know, Unclar was the top guy. But Unclar is arguably, he's definitely one of the four most powerful gods.
He's a good help. He's a good helper, right?
Yeah, arguably he's the most powerful god, because when he's created at the very, very beginning of time, it takes Mordias and Corthane and Orndul together to wage war upon him and drive him into the Undeeps. That's what happens to Unclar, and there he stays.
Oh, I never thought about it like that before.
Yeah, now you can play that out in your mind however you want. I can tell you how I play it out in my mind. But he's not, in my mind, he's not the most powerful. The three of them just gathered together and drove him from the plane, and he never stood a chance. It's not like he fought all three to a standstill.
Right.
And if there was only two, he would have won. No. Unclar was not, he was outclassed. He was equally classed by any one of them, and probably outclassed by Corthane, and was doomed to be driven into the Undeeps.
Right. Regardless of what he felt, how he felt.
Yeah, whatever idiocy. Unclar's stats are not. MJ Cook asks if Unclar's stats are anywhere. They are not anywhere. I've never statted any of the gods out. The Val Arakoon, I play them. They're not beatable by mortal creatures. They're not beatable by Valtumf. They're not beatable by anything other than things they have done to themselves. You know, Corthane pins Orndul to his own throne. And then Orndul curses or some such, but even then Corthane or Orndul is floating around in the world. Right. They really, the Valarakoon are not comparable. I've never statted them out. If you fight them, you die. You might. I think we designed kind of an idea of avatars where, you know, maybe the god's avatar will come forward. But if you're going to go to the homeless house where Orndul sits upon his throne and you're going to challenge him to combat, you're going to die. Now, having said all of that, they fought Unclar. They fought Unclar twice in the big game, way back in the Woebegone days. Now, one was on this kind of ethereal plane where Unclar wasn't really manifested. It was a piece of Unclar that was manifested. And that's the battle that got them fired up about killing Unclar. And Mac thought, we can do it. We can take this back. And in those days, of course, it's still the Greyhawk stuff. And if you look at the Greyhawk stuff, everything was statted out. All the gods are statted out.
Right.
But when they rolled up on Unclar in Austrag in his throne room in that final climatic battle, I mean, there was no way they were going to. There was one way. There was only one way that they went. Other than that, I was just going to let them keep hitting. And they hit some, but they didn't hit a lot because his armor class is so high. His magic resistance was 90%, 99%. So Mac could do absolutely nothing.
99%.
Oh, it's crazy. Mac, it's just no way.
I'm sure Mac was pissed because he's like left out in the cold.
Mac knew the cool thing about that battle, and I remember it very well. And just to let everybody know, I'm trying to get Todd on stream so we can start doing some kind of talk about the old game stuff. I think that would be kind of cool because Todd remembers it better than me. But I remember that Mac knew in minutes that he had fucked up, that they were on the battlefield fighting Unclar and they couldn't win. And they just couldn't win. Mac knew it immediately. Todd and Chris did not know it immediately. Mac didn't let anyone know. He didn't go all despondent and go, well, we're all going to die. He shifted he cast like 2 spells at Unclar, realized I can't overcome the magic resistance, and he shifted to attacking Unclar's best buddy, Trigal the Mage. So he went after him, and Jaren the Monk goes after the Mage, and then Todd and Chris, who's the Dwarven fighter, and Sativa, Sarah, her character, all attacked Unclar himself. And Lara was in there too somewhere, but I can't remember what Lara was doing. Try to backstab him. But you can't backstab him. You can't backstab Unclar. He knows you're there.
So there was no game over, man, from Mac?
Yeah, yeah. There's none of that. He was planning his escape. I found out later. He had a way to get out, and then he was going to resurrect the characters who all died
Oh, okay.
in Unclar's hands,
This is so
and they were
funny.
going to figure out what to do. But the cool thing about that battle, Todd got so angry somewhere around 10 or 15 minutes into the combat. Todd realized, well, Todd's down to like 15 hit points or 20 or whatever. He had 135 to start with. He's got super high armor class. He's got coke and flesh in. He's got all kinds of shit. And he just getting the crap beat out of him. And Todd knew he was going to die. So Todd just goes ape shit all in because he just now wants to die or do as much damage as he can. And about that time, Sarah rolled the natural 20 with the Cipero, the sword that she had in hand, and banished the god from the plane, which was all tied into the paths of Umbra and all that bullshit with the sorcery that summoned Umbra. So I never really statted him out. I gave him an AC and I gave him damage, but there wasn't any stats for Umbra. He's just an odd.
I want to say hi to Shadow Designs. They said hello in the chat from
Danger.
X. Someone else hollered at you, Steve. It was, let me see real quick that I've got another comment for you. Let me back up here just a second. Let's see. What is it at? Oh, I'll tell you what. Answer this right here. This is Sparky's follow-up to the wish question. He says, I asked because last week a player decided to use a wish during a battle that wasn't going so hot. In quotations, I want to become a legendary fire giant once a week. And we ended there. I don't want to beat him up, but I'm going to have my fun. Essentially, he swapped places with a powerful fire giant king that was imprisoned in Aird's past. So the fire giant is going to demand fealty from the party, LOL. And his character is imprisoned and being tortured. Essentially, they'll swap back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I would play that. The fire giants are wickedly evil. They are wickedly evil, and you can't wish like that. And see, that's a wish to me that's pushing the boundaries. But if you want to be a fire giant, you're a fire giant,
and consequences just, once again will.
Yeah, and consequences, right.
Let's see. I don't think I have. Old Man Deathon from X says, "Sup, Steven? Love the books. They rock, man."
Thank you, sir. Glad you're enjoying them. We have sent out so many starter bundles in the last 2 months. It's been absolutely jaw-droppingly amazing. Thank you all for jumping on board.
And the patience.
We still have orcs in the monster book.
Yeah.
I heard they pulled orcs out of the D&D monster.
They did. Oh, I haven't even showed you the screenshot I've had on my phone for like 3 weeks to show you.
Is it the one that Jeremy sent me something that had I have the monster manual. It has orcs in it, and strangely, it has Castles and Crusades on the front or something like that.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't. Who knows?
Thank you.
Alan Rhodes got a question for us. Our buddy from across the pond. Is there a cross-reference document somewhere for D&D, C&C equivalent monsters? Looking for a Barium specifically, which is a Forgotten Realms specific creature.
Yes, I'm glad you asked that, Alan. That just jostled something loose that I meant to talk to Chuck with before the stream. And Chuck, we need to talk about it after the stream. So that's good. Yes, so there are several Excel spreadsheets that Jeremy and I put together for spells, magic items, and monsters. It has been our intent for months now to put those on the website. I will try to put that on tomorrow's list to get those up. Because
I need to talk to you about that too. Actually, that came up in the tournament meeting. Actually, because we're going to have people showing up with, older printings.
That is true. Most of them, it's pretty.
Yeah. Well, I told you, my guys, they opened their books, and I forgot to even mention it for a little while.
It's one of those. There's a few off. But hey, Alan, I've got emails from you and Steve. I've got to get moving on that. I'll get those answered in the morning, if not late tonight. And we will get that. Whatever new bureaucratic nightmare they have delivered, we will do what we can to to weave our way through that.
So, in case you're worried about anything, just check your Skype. That's an ad. Some art. That should help you out with any kind of worry that you might have anywhere. About. I swear to God, that's straight off the internet.
It's funny. I saw that picture with arrows. Someone had photoshopped arrows into it, and I didn't know what was going on, but now I can see.
Oh, was it the same picture?
Yeah. Someone in Photoshop it didn't have all that text on it. It was just a
Right.
little cat,
Oh,
whatever
okay.
thing.
Right. That's pretty funny.
We call it Eurobox. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm not sure
it's
what's
fun.
happening.
I know we don't talk politics here. The world's going to be crazy for the next 6 months, so we all just need to buckle down and whatever. It's just going to be a wild ride. Those of us a little bit older, we've been here before. Those of you that are younger, you'll be here again in the future. So,
hey, I've got a question for you. Actually, well, I mean, if we ever do, I was going to ask Jeremy. Actually, I think he was one that was working on that. So, well, Savage is what made me think about it. It said orcs are so 2020. I'm waiting on a playable troll race. I like that, you know. So I was just thinking about that. Yeah, Trollkin. Anyway,
we need to do something with
how you. I see. Old Man Deaththon from X says, "How you run any games? Have you run any games with skills and faith-based casting? And how did it go? I love the rule set. I'm talking to my players about using them."
So, did you hear that?
Yeah, what is that?
Someone's stomping.
You may not want to go upstairs after the stream. Someone might be angry. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before in your house, ever.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I don't know who's stomping.
Anyway.
So faith-based spellcasting, I do the clerics that use divine magic and whatnot for sure. I've never really used the advantages or skills in CNC. You know, in the CKG's the advantages system. I think maybe a little bit, but having said that, I'm real loose at the table when we're running campaigns. Some of those people who are veteran players are even willing to kind of push the envelope a little bit. They merge classes. They take something from this class and put it in this class. And so long as it's kind of that same thing as with the wish spell, as long as it's reasonable, I don't really care. I mean, Mac, and the most, I don't know, but the perfect example of this is Mac's character we played for years. He was a ranger till 3rd level, got bored. And then he took he took some knight skills, put in the knights, did that to like 7th level, got bored, added some druid to it, got bored. So he's got this weird amalgam. But then he started making up his own abilities. But none of it went over the top, if that makes any sense. There was no, crazy shit that he was doing.
No, so I know very well that you don't have a problem saying no.
I know. And
I got shut down with something one time with you. You probably don't remember it, but it was funny.
Yeah. The only time I get in trouble as a CK when I'm doing that is sometimes we don't know how powerful things are until they've been deployed for it. So Mark, say he did for multi-class. And one of the things he did for his CNC monk, I can't remember what he got. He got some kind of magic item that did something, and the way it boiled down to it allowed him to hit. He was already getting like 3 swings around. He was getting suddenly 6 swings around. And then which was okay at the lower levels, but suddenly when he was 9th or 10th level, his damage just started to skyrocket. And then something had to be done there. So sometimes I get into a little bit of trouble. But I reverse it. I think I destroyed the magic items. He was very mad, but I destroyed the magic items because it was too much.
Oh, I see. Well, sometimes you got to do it. That'll learn him. Paddington's got a question there. You can probably still see it. It was one of the last ones. That's where we're at right now.
Let's see. I think I heard Grace on her Monday show a while back that Unklar embraced the world tree. If true, is that why Alstrag is shaped like an upside down tree? So he didn't embrace the tree, but he saw it. He could never actually, I guess he did. He tried to destroy the tree and failed. He could not hurt the tree. And that's why Alstrag is, it looks like a dead tree is what it is. Its root systems aren't related to the trenches that are called the trenches, but it's these 3 gigantic half branches that stick out and then the pool at the top. But yeah, he was mimicking, he created Alstrag as a mockery of the one tree. In his rage, there was a few things that Unklar could not do. That was one of them. Conquering the Darkenfold was another. There was a few things here and there that he never managed to master, and made him embittered to those around him. Because in Unklar's view, he was actually fulfilling what the Allfather wanted.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was a good helper, right? He was bringing
that's right.
peace and love, and
It was just the violence and tyranny that came with it.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
I mean, he had minions. Surely it wasn't him behind all of that. It was them not following instructions.
He was drinking tea or whatever. Whatever people drink. I don't know. I just drink water and Dr. Pepper. So,
that is a literal truth. That is a literal truth. And an occasional. Very occasional.
I'm trying to think of some kind of sherry. I don't know. What is that? A type of wine or something that people drink? I have no idea.
Sherry. It's like it's a kid's liquor, or whatever. It's just a weak, sweet
Aviante, is that something? Am I just making shit up at this point?
I think so. I don't know what that word means. It sounds terrifying.
I'll just go with that. Like when a young child tries to help mom in the kitchen when she stepped down. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And he destroyed the Allfather's mess. Well, he didn't really destroy it. He froze it in ice. The Allfather should have left better instructions. It's his fault.
It's his fault. Shit. That's pretty funny.
He should have communicated clearly, and none of this would have happened. But there you go.
I know you gave us a rundown earlier, but there's been a bunch of new people join the chat. Could you do just a real quick rundown on where we're at on projects?
Kickstarter?
Yeah.
All right, so let's start at the oldest one first. That's Infernum and Exaltum. Infernum and Exaltum, we have brought in 3 new artists to help propel this forward, which is really what the hang-up is. And we've got some great pieces coming down from Corey Rivera and David North. So you can see the stuff on the Twitter. Some of it's Jeremy is deploying on Patreon. You can see that over there. So those 2 books are finally moving forward at a pace that I am comfortable with. It's probably still going to be another month before we're done with them. I think Jason told me that he has 25 more Celestials to do. So we're looking at the writing being done very soon. So that's out. The next one's the second part of Reforged. We've got 4 missing elements to that. The Role Player's Vault, Crusader 28, Beneath the Canopy Green, and the Beneath the Canopy Green screens 5, and Barsoom. All of those, the Vault is done, the Crusader is done. We've got like literally 3 edits to put in the Crusader, and we'll send that out to you guys. And then the Beneath the Canopy Green is maybe another hour, maybe another 2 hours.
We gotta have to talk about that, man.
Yeah, Peter needs to put in about 7 pictures, and then it's ready. It's still we got to do one more edit on that, which won't take too long. But it's another week or so on Beneath the Canopy Green. Barsoom needs a heavy rewrite. I'm going to start that tomorrow morning. And what was the other one? And the screens. The screens I will dump on Chuck's lap here.
That's why I said we're going to have a meeting.
Probably Monday. And Chuck will design the strings. He did such a great job on the Hermit. We're going to give him these guys here. And that'll put Reforged to bed. So in the next week, I think everything on Reforged should be to the printers or done and blah, blah, blah. So it'll take 4 weeks for Beneath the Canopy to Green to print. So in about 4 weeks, that too will be done. Arms and Armory. Both of those books, I'm waiting for the quotes. I'm waiting for the Walsworth to give me the quotes. As soon as they give me the quotes, I sign them. They go to the printers. Those books are done as well. Now, we do need to update the PDFs. We've made quite a lot of changes in the monstrous Armory in its final edit. But those guys are done as well. The Gygaxian Fantasy World Series, we're getting a little bit behind. Where I was comfortable with, as Jason Walton working on the covers is not getting them out as fast as he had hoped. He still made tremendous progress. I think he's on book 5. He's got 3 done. 5. He's on book 4. He's got 3 done. And he and I outlined the other 6 books, so he knows what he's doing. There won't be a gap between us yakking about.
It's just time at this point, right?
Right. It's just him knocking these things out. So, Canteen Crew is ready for layout. Peter's got to lay out Engineering Villages and finish laying out the Canopy Green. Then he goes to the Canteen Crew. So that thing is done. And then there's another one. I'm missing one. What am I missing? Hermit's done. Is that it?
Codex Exaltum, Infernum.
Yeah, I did those first. I think that's it.
Might be it.
I'm looking. I think we're down to 3, which would be just nice.
I'll be honest with you. We've done so much in the last 6 months. Unless I go and look at the spreadsheet, I have no clue. I really don't.
It's so much. Yeah, the Hermit's done. Yeah, so that's the Armory. So they're really the only thing out. The World Builders Archive, the Infernum and Exaltum Armory, and a part of Reforged. And you will see Reforged wrapped up in the next month. You will see an Armory wrapped up in the next month, and hopefully,
Oh yeah,
Infernum and Exaltum ready for the printers in the next month. So, so the starter kit is still slated for a release at what's the convention? GaryCon. We will see how that plays out. It's done, ready for layout. And again, it would like so many things around here. Speed is beginning to pick up as we knock out these very, very large projects. And as they get knocked out one after the other, things will just kind of pick up. So we're still on target for that.
Yeah, I need to talk to you about that later.
Yeah, we are having a company meeting tomorrow to bring everyone up to speed. That will help you guys out there, but because I know that I work sometimes, it's almost in a vacuum. I tell Davis a little bit of this, Chuck a little bit of this, Jeremy a little bit of this. So everyone's got bits and pieces of what's going on. And Chuck, what did you say to me yesterday? You were talking to someone and they voiced the fear if Steve dies suddenly, then TLG can come off the
rails. Are you trying to allude that I'm Unclar?
I need to get someone brought up to speed with what's going on around here.
It'd be nice. It'd be good. It'd be really helpful. Because you've not heard all the crazy rumors going around. Crazy rumors.
Jeremy, I think I'm gonna make Jeremy just my my priest, so that I can constantly just tell him what's going on around here. Jeremy will remember. Well, and he's actually got a lot of information I don't have about changes that were made in the MT and stuff.
Yeah, we don't. So Donkey Juice has a question there. Is there anywhere
to ask, report possible editing errors on newer stuff? Just send it to product support. Anything that you have found, send to product support at troller.com. Grace will get it and she'll forward it on to me or Chuck or whoever. It usually goes to me, and I try to fix it in the file instantly so that on the next printing it's already done. But yeah, absolutely. Send it to product support.
I have some M&T edits to get together for you too.
Okay. Phantom, that's about it. We did toy with melting down my Dr. Pepper cans at one point. We could make tablets of Troll Lordness or something. I'm not sure if that would work, but sure would be cool.
You say we almost had a foundry? That'd have been amazing.
So Davis and I, this was years ago, you remember the coins that we've done. We've done two types of coins. And Davis, this is my favorite. Everyone's seen the cheaper one, but this one,
that's the best one.
Is not. I don't know if you can see that really. This one's not cheap. I can't remember what it's made out of, but it's solid, right? That's one of my favorite. Yet Chuck's got a couple of those. There's still some floating around.
There's still a few.
But Davis had postulated, let's just gather up all these aluminum that we're recycling and melt it. And so he didn't buy it, but he looked into the small home forge and foundry or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
What to do to melt it and whatnot. But we never did pull the trigger on that.
I'm surprised you didn't. Y'all pulled so many damn triggers over the years.
I am too, to be honest with you. And he could do it now. He's got enough space. He could burn the farm down.
Oh, my God. And that's exactly what would happen.
That's exactly what would happen. A rule book etched into soda can thin aluminum sheets would be awesome.
That's insane, man. It would be pretty cool, though.
That's
what we do. That's what we do with our post-apocalyptic game. Fallout had bottle caps. We have Dr. Pepper cans as currency. Yes!
There you're talking.
Woo!
Hey, so in the deficit of questions, I will share with you my latest find. Everybody out there. So as some of you may know, we got a question here. Hello, I got a question for you. I had a campaign where I might have stored several barrels of whiskey in a celestial realm since time works differently there. Do you think that might also change the flavor of the whiskey and maybe turn it into something like olive? I would definitely, absolutely. That would be just cool. Because time is different, and the whiskey's probably going to behave differently if it's this kind of timeless zone. I definitely would not leave it just whiskey. Something happens to it, and making it holy water is absolutely great. And maybe it even helps or continues to inebriate those. That's just that's just a cool idea. I love that. We may have to put that in the exaltum. I'll have to credit you who said that. That was Gold Osborne. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, we need to. We need to. I need you to save that for me. That's something to go in the crafting book.
Holy whiskey. I absolutely love it. So, about a year ago, I got a hold of Jason Vey. Now, Jason Vey, who wrote Amazing Adventures, actually did his whatever, bachelor's degree, his college, whatever, I don't know, religious studies. So he's got a pretty good handle on a lot of the ancient texts that have surfaced in the Middle Ages and whatnot. So I asked him for some pointers about a year ago where to begin searching, because what I was looking for is not specifically histories of magic and the occult, and I was looking for actual and histories of the monsters that they believed existed. I was looking for the books, not the originals obviously, but the books where they had spells and where they discussed these monsters that exist and all of that other stuff, the actual manuscripts. And this shelf, where is it? Here, right there, that mess there is the slow collection of it that I've got. And you can see over here, we got the Book of Enoch, we got the Sworn Book of Honorius, the Apocalypse Revealed. What is that? Malleus Maleformum. We got some great stuff there that discusses demons, devils, magic, sorcery, and everything. Well, there's a particular scholar from the 1500s named Agrippa, Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, and he wrote these books on the occult philosophy. And in this stuff, he talks about from thaumaturgy to alchemy to spells, all kinds of stuff. Well, I found them on eBay, and they arrived yesterday. So this is
that?
These are nice, beautiful hardbound books. And once you get into it, essentially what he's doing. So I can read some of the table of contents of this thing. So when you're reading who's the horror guy? Lovecraft. When you're reading a Lovecraftian book, right? When you're reading a Lovecraftian book, and his characters go to this dark and dismal library, and they start pulling books off the shelf, these ancient texts of the ancient philosophers. That's literally what these three books are. They're titled Three Books of the Occult of Philosophy. The first one, what is it? The Natural World, the Celestial World, and the Divine World. And throughout these books is the discussion of magic and sorcery, spells, and divination, and all that other stuff as they practiced it in the 1500s.
I gotta read that. I gotta get
Agrippa's not talking about what the history of it or what people believe, but he's saying this is the occult philosophy, this is the philosophy, and this is how you do this stuff. There's a bunch of the more modern version, Aleister Crowley. I got some of his sorcery books over here. And it's just interesting to me, and that's sort of what I've been bleeding into AA conceptually. The little that I've worked on it is real text. This is the stuff, and the plan for the whole Troll Lord Games CNC stuff is this stuff. Its origin will, of course, be the world of Erd, and these are the ancient texts that made it to Earth via the rings of brass or whatever, so that you can dive into it. But that was my find for yes. I've been looking at these for a good year. Been on my list. Got all 3 volumes unabridged and translated from the original Latin. Super excited. I started reading them last night. Agrippa was the man Arab. Was he the mad Arab? I don't think so. I think he was I thought he was like a Spaniard or
what is the name of it? Are those called the philosophy? That's what they're called?
The books of occult philosophy. Here's from the tab. Agrippa describes the components of the mind, and he shows how we connect with the heavens and cause changes in the world through power of speech, words, names, incantations, writing, and letters. So it's stuff like that that's just very, very cool. And so I'm slowly piling up a library of these books. And so who knows? Maybe one of these days I'll dive into this occult philosophy and unlock some nightmarish horror from the other worlds and chuckle, tune in to the 4:30 stream, and it'll just be some kind of cloud and some shadowy nightmare.
Right, some sort of shit going on. I'll be like,
which won't be much different for Chuck, because I'm normally yelling at Chuck about something anyway. So
Starlaw says you need the Necronomicon. Are you familiar with that book?
So There is.
Necronomicon?
I don't think, and Jeremy can. I don't think there actually is a Necronomicon. There's
Sure,
some.
there is. They're in the movies. Yeah.
Yeah, some people have published over the years, but I think that's a creation of Lovecraft.
You've
Could be
watched.
wrong.
You've watched. You've watched that with Ash, haven't you? And you know what I'm talking
Did I
about?
not tell you the horrible story of that?
No.
What's the first movie? What's the first movie?
The first
Dead?
was Evil Dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know I've told you. You've just forgotten. So
It sounds
it's
familiar.
like
You're right.
it's like I've never seen the movie, which is weird because it's huge, right?
Okay.
So about a year ago, I don't know, some time ago, I sat down and I noticed that The Evil Dead was on Netflix or Hulu. I don't know what it was. And it's the last day of the month, which I should have noticed. And I sat down to watch it at about 11:30 and thought, okay, I watched 15 minutes of it. I thought, this is very cool. I got to watch this, but I'm getting too sleepy. I'll watch it tomorrow. So I turned it off, go to bed, get up, work the next day, that night. The next night I sat down, which was the first of whatever month, to watch it, and it was gone. Netflix or Hulu or whoever.
Oh, I remember you saying that. I remember that.
Had removed it from the playlist, and I haven't.
That happened to me once with True Romance.
That's a great movie.
It's a great movie. We went back to go finish it, and it was, oh, you got to buy bait. I was like, well, we watched half the damn movie. I was like, what's this shit? You know. So you've never actually seen any of those, then, huh?
No, I haven't. No, I've seen the third one at the theater, but I've never seen the first and the second one.
Okay, so you have seen Army of the Army of the Dead.
Yeah, that's kind of the more tongue in cheek.
Groovy,
right?
baby. Yeah, it's killer.
Yeah, he's got a shotgun or something.
Yeah, that's great. There was
No,
another.
there you go, Alan.
There was another question here. Oh, yeah. Jacob Zembrum from over on YouTube asks, just wondering when are the Barzoom PDFs and Crusader magazines being sent? Oh, that's part of that last wave, isn't it?
Yeah, so the Crusader magazine, I anticipate this week we will send the PDF out to everybody. And then Barsoom, if we're lucky, next week. And then it should go out with Beneath the Canopy Green in the screens as well. Now, none of the physical copies will go until Beneath the Canopy Green is back from the printers. So Beneath the Canopy Green will go either Friday, or Monday, or Tuesday. It'll take 3 to 4 weeks for it to get printed. As soon as we get it, we'll ship it to all the backers and then put it on the store. So the digital copies should be arriving in the next 2 weeks. I know that's the mantra around here, but it should be. And then the physical copies about 5 weeks from today, give or take.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're all caught up on questions. If you want to.
Well, it's good. It's about time to wind down. It
God.
is. It is 5:22.
Flew. Yeah.
We have talked about Agrippa and the Fantastic Four movie. Go check that trailer out if you haven't. It's pretty cool. Alan, I will shoot you some emails and we will get the Amazing Adventures over to your side of the pond. And I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and joining us to chit-chat about all the things troll.
And Venrus did. He did. They said goodbye. He had to head out, but he said it to check. He reminded me to remind you to check your messages and stuff.
Okay.
Anyway.
That'll do.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I guess that's it, guys. We're going to wind down. I'll be back in the morning with my morning stream. Anybody who misses out, that he came in late or whatever, come on by. We're going to be shooting shit, doing updates, and talking about whatever happens. And yeah, so I think we're going to get out of here. So thanks, everybody. We appreciate you so much. Hope everybody has a great rest of their evening. And yeah, we're out. Y'all have a good one.